RedisCache development. Before we can write a client application which is going to make use of RedisCache for storing in-memory key value pair, we will have to create RedisCache instance in Azure. And there are two ways of doing it. Both are simple steps. Either we simply use portal and execute this sequence of commands, or just execute this PowerShell command. Azure RedisCache resource group name has to be given. The name, which is actually the DNS name at my cache, has to be given, and the location. So let's do it through portal, for which you go to new and then the database, and here we'll find RedisCache. Click on it. Give a DNS name. I'll call it as DNS DSS Redis demo. And see the URL dss redisdemo.rediscache.windows.net. That's how the URL is going to be. Your subscription, you can create a user group. I'll create a new one. Location you have to specify appropriately, and the pricing tier. Right now it is standard, and because it is standard, you see Redis cluster or Redis database persistence and virtual network. All these three are disabled because these three are features only supported in premium. So if I choose premium, which is pretty expensive when compared to standard, and click on select, then these three will get enabled. So cluster, we can have multiple instances in case we want to, you see, multiple clustered RedisCache can be there. So if one is not available, automatically the other can be made available for reading inputs. Persistency, the key value pairs are going to be stored in your storage account in case you want to. And likewise, virtual network. If you already have created a virtual network, you can actually choose a virtual network and say it is in this particular virtual network only we would like to allow access. So anyhow, I'll keep it simple. I think for our kind of demo, we are good enough with even basic. You have low network bandwidth, that is fine. Shared infrastructure, it is shared by multiple users, that is the only problem. So it will be slow when compared to even standard, where we will have a dedicated RedisCache server. Up to 256 connections simultaneously we can establish. Now click on, first I need to select this and then click on create. So once it is created, the immediate next action would be to build a client application in Visual Studio. So here I'll build a new project. I'll prefer taking an ASP.NET MVC web application. It can be any type of application, as I told you. I'll take ASP.NET web application. Click on OK. Don't need authentication. Now, it is pretty simple API, but before we make use of that API, we have to add a reference to a NuGet package stackexchange.redis. This we will have to add. So go to Solution Explorer, NuGet package and stackexchange.redis. Install it. And then I'll prefer copying this whole program. I'll have, let us say, a model called as person. And person is made up of name and age. I want to actually store the object of type person into RedisCache. So this is the piece of code which I'm supposed to make use of, and I'll put it in my home controller index method. We have to add the reference to stack exchange.redis. Person is in models folder, hence the model namespace. This is newtonsoft.json. So let's understand this simple piece of code. What are we doing here? First, we need to provide connect. Now this connect is supposed to be the name which we have used for our RedisCache. It's still deploying, not completed. DSS demo Redis. That's what I have actually given. Then password. This key I have to actually get it from the properties and paste it here. SSL is equal to true and abort connection is equal to false. Now what is this abort connection and SSL? SSL basically means that HTTPS connection is going to be established between your web application and the Redis server. And what is the importance of abort connection? RedisCache data is going to be available even if you are not connected to the server. That's what is abort connection is equal to false means. Abort connection is equal to false means the RedisCache data is going to be available from in memory even if we do not have a direct connection available to the RedisCache server. I think I have now, here. If abort connection is set to false, it means that the call will succeed even if the connection to Azure RedisCache is not established. One key feature of connection multiplexer is that it will automatically restore the connectivity to the cache once the network issue or the other causes are resolved. That's the advantage here. So it is still taking some time for creating. In the meantime, let me explain the code to you. So first I'm creating a connection, getting the reference to the cache database, and here we have the method set string get. We have to set the string, we have to get the string. So here is an example of how we can set a simple string value. And here is another example where I am appending the data to the already existing key in the cache. More added to my string. So original is my string and I am adding more content to my string. I give a space there, or let's say hyphen. And then we are trying to get it from the cache. Now here we are trying to do it in the same URL, but not necessary it should be done in same URL. We can add it in one URL and get it from the other URL. We can always do that. And whatever we are getting, we are writing to the console output. The example in handout is making use of the console. I am going to use the same thing through web application. Here is the example of integer RedisCache. We have created a Redis value here, and that Redis value we are setting it here. Redis value by itself is a data type which we are putting a integer. That means here the operators are all overloaded. So that value is used. We are incrementing the integer value here, string increment. Remember, RedisCache is going to store everything as string, and it is also going to perform operations but not necessary in string format. Based on the type, automatically the operations are going to be performed. So string increment actually is going to increment the value of this from 10 to 11, and we are getting that 11 here through string get. String set, string get is common whether it is here or here, both where places string get, string set is common. But we know that string get actual return type is string, hence we have to cast it to integer here. Actually it returns Redis value. That Redis value is casted to integer. And then we are putting a custom object, but custom object to put we have to convert to serialization. We have to convert to JSON format using JSON serialization. and then we are putting it here, same string set, and later we are going to get it and deserialize it. Of course, the serialization and deserialization is the responsibility of developer, because internally it is going to simply store it as a string. JSON.serialize object actually returns string. So here what we are going to get is string, which we have to deserialize it as per the requirement. So any type of data can be stored by three different sets: string, integer, and a custom object. I am trying to only demonstrate that any type of data can be stored in cache. So yes, I would like to change this now. I would like to put it in viewBag dot string is equal to entry. Likewise, I'll put here viewBag dot integer, the value, and here I'll put viewBag dot person. What we are trying to stay, what we are storing, we are retrieving, and we are putting in viewBag because eventually we have to display this in the view. So go to view. Let us delete what we have here. So first string value, then the integer value, and then the person object. Actually, in person we are not storing object, we are storing string, because we are concatenating name and age here. You can actually store the person object itself, but then here you will have to write person.age and person.name in view. Here you will have to break it. It's one and the same. So hopefully now we have, still it is taking time. So let us wait for this to complete the RedisCache, and after that I'll proceed and execute my program which I have written. Okay, one more thing is there actually about RedisCache, that is expiration policy. So when we are appending a string, we generally provide key and value, but then there is a third parameter also, which can be after how much time should the key expire. So what I'll do here is, in my program, I'll make a small change to demonstrate the expiration. So I have string, I'm appending, and the logic will be such that if cache dot string get of the key, which is string value, if is equal to null, then I will do all this. So I'm putting data into the cache only if it is equal to null. Redis value, its value type it says. Okay, so what I'll do is dot to string, and I'll say if string dot is empty or null, rather is null or empty. So if it is either null or empty, what we are getting from the cache, in such case only I will add to the cache, else I will not add. And also let me append here the date and time, at least the time. String append string value, comma, date time dot now dot too long time string. Just appending the time. So if the data is coming from the cache, then old time is going to be displayed. But if the data is not coming from the cache, then automatically the latest time is going to be displayed. That's how it is. So right now it is always going to come from cache only because we haven't set any expiration. So how to set an expiration? Here we should give comma. We have got time span expiry. So we can give time span dot from seconds and let us say 10 seconds or maybe 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds, this key is going to expire. When it is not there, automatically next time it is going to come here. If it is null, then only it will come here. Otherwise, it will not come inside next time. So after expiration, again it will come inside. So now let us see if completed, still pending. So let us wait for this to complete. Oh, at last it's done. It really took a lot of time for this service to get updated and available. So let us now run this program and see the output in the browser. I can press Control. Actually, why not put a breakpoint and run in debug mode? So just try to run in debug mode. It should break there and we'll trace it thereafter. Okay, here it will not work because I haven't given the key yet. So let's stop debugging, go to the service, RedisCache, DSS Redis demo, that's the name actually, DNS name, and then I should get the access key. So I'll copy the access key, or we can copy the whole string itself, and this string we can paste it here. That's it. And again run in debug mode. F10. Yes, we got the cache object. Cache dot get. Let us quick watch this. Runtime refused to evaluate the expression at this time. Okay. So it is empty. Because it is empty, first time it has come inside the block. So we are appending the cache, making it valid for 15 seconds. And I press F5, we will see all the data there on the screen. See, refresh it. This time again F10. And wow, it's again getting in. Because it's expiring actually, because we are in debug mode. Let us run this now in non-debug mode. Control and F5. Refresh. See, it's 829 continuously. 829.10. After 15 seconds, that value will change. After 15 seconds, it has changed. So it is taking it from the cache rather than every time going to the source. It is taking it from the cache. That's how the logic has to be written. If the data is not there in the cache, then you should take it from the cache. Don't directly try to get it from the cache because it may not be there and the logic might go wrong. So this is how we are able to manage cache in Redis. We are able to manage cache in memory using Redis service. String, integer and a custom object, all three. And also we have seen how we can provide a expiration of the data. After so much time, the data would expire. Now we have got output caching. This is actually trying to control through code. Let us say I will add one more action method here. Get time. And here I am going to return, why not directly string itself, or return view of, let's give the time in view back. So get time view I have to create now, add view. And in view, I'll say server time is @viewback dot server time. Now let us try to visit this URL, home/get time. That's the URL. And we are going to get the server time, and every time I refresh, that is I press F5, we are going to get the new server time. That means it is every time executing the page, every time executing the action method. Now what we can do is put this output cache directive. So here I'll put now output cache directive for the action method. What does it mean? For next 15 seconds, if a request comes, rather than executing the method and producing the output, what is already there in the cache, produce that output. That's the meaning of it. But where is it mentioned that output cache should use RedisCache? Where is it mentioned? By default, it is going to make use of the built-in traditional caching of ASP.NET. For that, we will have to do the configuration. So we have to add this caching in system.web. So go to now web.config, and in web.config under system.web we will add caching. Of course, default provider, my Redis output cache, type, port, all this will remain same. Access key is supposed to change, and this is supposed to change. DSS Redis demo and the access key. I can get the access key from portal. Copy and we'll paste it here. But why are we getting this error? For this, we have to actually add a NuGet package, Redis output cache provider. So go to Studio, add a NuGet package. Redis output cache provider. Add it, and that error should go away in web.config. Yes. See, all this extra section is added now. So what I wrote is gone because it's there. So you have add my RedisCache output, just build it once. What is commented? It's the same thing I have written. Some error. Connection multiplexer is giving error because of you have to resolve the name ambiguity. Exist in both Redis.strong name stack exchange.redis. Stack exchange.redis.strong name stack exchange.redis. Let us resolve it. Stack exchange.redis dot. Now why is it giving error? Oh, the problem is same class is existing in two namespaces. So, two assemblies. So I will go to NuGet, and what I had here, the stack exchange one. Let's see if we can remove this. We should not get an error now. Perfect. And let's go to web.config. Here it is still showing error for my Redis output cache, host, access key. Oh, what I wrote is deleted, sorry. So I have to actually get the host, which is DSS Redis demo, and the access key has to come from portal. It's still giving error. Let's ignore that. I don't think it's wrong because we already have the same thing on top. This is the example which I am trying to use. So now let us run this. Go to home/get time. We'll get server time, and we should get the same server time even after refresh. It's changing. Every time it is changing. That means this is not functioning. What could be wrong here? DSS Redis demo. Oh, host is supposed to be not just Redis demo. It is supposed to be the complete domain name. Let's give that. DSS Redis demo.redis.cache.windows.net. Now run this. We have here get time. Refresh it. Nine. Refresh again. It's still 9. And of course, after 15 seconds, it is going to change. See, 23 we got now. So, yes, if in case we want to make use of the output cache, that is ASP.NET MVC feature, first we have to add the reference to Redis output cache provider. But remember, Redis output cache provider, if you are adding, you should not add the reference to what we have used earlier, that is stack exchange.redis, because internally this is automatically providing that those classes also. So overlapping would happen. Ambiguity will be created. So only add this and remove that reference. Second thing, you have to provide this option output cache. Actually, you can use this clear, though it is not required. You can use this clear. My Redis output cache, because we have made it as default, we don't need it. But if you have not made this as default, then we'll have to compulsory clear, as this would only be available at that time. Then we'll have to provide the complete type, port, host, complete domain name has to be provided, access key and the SSL. So like this, we will provide output cache. Second thing, if at all you are doing ASP.NET web form, remember to write this directive in ASPX page. If it is web form, you don't have the output cache attribute. Instead, you have a directive called as output cache with same duration as much as you want and vary by param star. Vary by param is basically used for specifying for a given parameter input, the output cache should be same. That means if I give here, let us say vary by parameter ID, and in that case I will have integer ID. So for every ID value, we will have a separate cache copy. For every ID value, we will have a separate cache copy. That's the meaning of vary by param. You can have multiple ID1, ID2, like this also you can give. So in such case, you will have here ID1, integer ID2. So any one of these two parameter if changes, automatically we will have a different cache copy generated. So this is how output cache is supposed to be used in RedisCache. Something very important, don't forget to delete this RedisCache service after you have completed practicing it, because it is going to be pretty expensive and would eat away all your dollars if you keep it open for a long time. But this is what we have to understand is the benefit of using output cache in projects. Thank you.